can at any moment. That's why it makes common sense to build your emergency food storage supply now, while you still can. Do it with the kind of food that stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. Food that doesn't go bad like what you get at the grocery store. Whose food should you trust? The largest preparedness company in America, My Patriot Supply. We've served millions of American families going on 14 years. At MyPatriotSupply.com, our mission is your survival. Our emergency food could definitely be your lifesaver when the peanut butter hits the fan. Choose from dozens of delicious meal kits that provide over 2,000 calories a day, which is what your body needs. Order today and your food will ship fast in unmarked boxes to protect your privacy.
Glad you pulled that up because I already had it muted on my side. I had no idea. There's zero reason for that button to be lit up. Unless Kevin Ford likes his commercials fed through. That might be it. Yes, please.
Good morning, Jake.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
.638, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Woo! All right, we're all back to normal now. Everybody is where they belong. Welcome in, Jake. Time for a cup of tech gumbo. Time to welcome in as well, Haggai Davis. What's happening, dude?
I'm excited about today, Brian.
We got a lot of ground to cover. Is there something in particular about today that you're excited about, or are you talking about the content itself?
Oh, just it felt so good outside.
Bro, yes!
Makes you feel good when it's 58 degrees outside. It's like, okay.
Are we down to 58? Because you know it's going to dip. It always dips a couple degrees right before dawn or right at dawn. It's been explained to me. There's a term for that, and I'll never, ever remember it. But, yes. Yeah, 58. Boom. Like, it was 60 half an hour ago, and now 50. It's pleasant. There's no pleasantness factor. And it's pleasant outside. I love it.
It is nice. Cannot
get enough. I tell you what I have gotten too much of, though, and this is where we segue into some of the content, is digital overload.
Oh, yes.
This is going to be a big topic on Tech Gumbo this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 4, right here on Talk 107.3 FM, anywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Digital overload. Based on data Microsoft has collected across its Microsoft 365 and Teams users, hybrid work needs closer management attention, or remote working employees could burn out. I got to tell you, could burn out should already be in the past tense.
Yeah, they did this study. There's been 148% more meetings, virtual online meetings.
Yep.
An additional 40 billion emails sent since the pandemic began. 45% more chats going on, and 66% more docs and Excel spreadsheets created.
Mm-hmm.
We're working that much more. Instead of 8-hour days, we're now working 10, 12-hour days because people are working from home, and that one more email just came in. I know it's 6 o'clock, the family's about to eat, but let me go ahead and take care of this. And all of a sudden it's 8:30 at night, and you didn't realize how much you kept working through dinner.
Right. Right, and this was one of the dangers, and we talked about this regularly on the front end of the pandemic, the danger of not being able to turn it back off again.
Yes.
It's so convenient. I can work right from my couch. I'm watching reruns of Hogan's Heroes and getting work done at the same time. I know, nobody watches Hogan's Heroes. It's fine. But
I knew nothing.
Well played. But that being said, you're doing that at 3 p.m. You're also doing that at 9 p.m. You're doing that at 1 a.m. And before you know it, there's a lot of dad, not now. One more thing to respond to, not now. The bleed over is such that once you've crossed those streams, how do you go back?
The work-life balance is lost.
Right.
And in the report, it talks about how a lot of companies are really enjoying all the additional productivity that all the employees are doing, but the employees are really getting burned out, and they don't feel like they're being they don't feel like the companies are really supporting how much more they're doing.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, keep going. The additional money the companies are making is great. All the additional productivity that they're creating, but companies just don't seem to they're not paying attention to the burnout factor that employees are having.
Well, it's one of those things that an employer rarely ever takes notice of, is that when an employer has a chance to get more out of their employee, is there additional compensation? No, because every employer's been hurting on the front end. Is there additional compensation? No. Does it become an expectation? Does the adaptation become expectation? And that's where we start to run into a problem, is when a boss, a manager, a middle manager can send out an email at 7 p.m. on a Friday and be like, why haven't you responded to me yet? Because it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. I'm in Memorial Stadium watching Catholic High. Like,
I get emails on Saturdays and Sundays, and I turned off my computer.
Yeah.
Friday afternoons. I've got my,
really, because this what I'm holding in my hand right now is the same spot where I get my email. I can't turn off my phone.
Yeah, but I just ignore it. I mean, when I see the email
takes
pop
discipline, Haggai.
I have forced myself to understand a work-life balance, and because I'm one of these people. I work 18-hour days sometimes. Just whenever I finally get to sleep, okay, that's it, and I'll sit there and just keep plugging through emails and proposals and workloads, and then I'm finally start yawning. Okay, I'll shut down for now. And on the way to bed, realize, God, what am I forgetting here? And that you just lose the fact that, oh, I haven't gone for a walk in a while.
Right.
I mean, my Fitbit reminds me, hey, fat boy, get up and walk. And and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't walked in a while. That it makes a difference.
148% more meetings. Is that just within work, or does that include everybody who went virtual?
Virtual meetings.
Well,
That's
no,
the usage of Teams.
Right. Well, the reason I'm asking is, does that include everyone who's had a virtual fundraiser, everyone who's had a virtual concert, or is that just within the workplace setting?
No, that's all virtual meetings.
Okay.
Because that in this is including Zoom and
that was my follow-up question was, is that just Teams or is it all platforms?
It's all platforms.
Okay.
And because Microsoft was they certainly were looking at Teams because that's on the Microsoft platform, but this study was looking at the Zooms and the all of the different platforms. Yes.
Right. 148% more meetings does not surprise me, because you have no hallway conversations when you're not in the same hallway.
Yeah, we can't
things that could, yeah.
Let's go to the conference room real quick. Let's go sit down and work this out.
Right. Or just something as simple as, I have something I have to tell 4 different people, and I know who I'm going to see. I'm going to see, I got to tell Sarah, I got to tell Craig, I got to tell Gene, and I got to tell Skeeter. And Skeeter's the boss's son. Don't worry about him. But I know I'm going to see them in the hallway, but I'm not going to see them in the hallway, so it's going to be on Zoom or on Teams instead. That's a meeting that wouldn't have otherwise been a quote-unquote meeting.
And, we talked last week about people losing their jobs because of stupid things they've done in virtual meetings. And they're not going back to work. People need to get back to the office. When all the Zoom people, the Jeffrey Tubins of the world who did stupid things on virtual meetings and have lost jobs.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of those. I mean, one in 4 employers have had to terminate or admonish an employee because something happened on a virtual meeting.
Look, I'm not a fan of wearing pants either, but you do what you gotta. We gotta take a break right now. When we come back after the break, Of course, we're going to check your money now. We're going to check traffic. Then we're returning with more of Cup of Tech Gumbo next on Talk 107.3. Hey, I forgot what live read you said was next. That's why I broke now, so I can do it on the back end. Thank you. Do what? Yeah. Yeah, there's no way around it. If you're hitting that one, it's turning these off. So, is that, how hot is that over there? Because my volume's at the normal level, and it sounds remarkably hot. Yes, a little bit. It's good enough. That's not the. Is that the right remote to bring up the? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Get after it. I'll adjust everything back later.
First cloth mask I've had in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using those KN95s, those paper ones.
Yeah.
That's all I've been using. I've never had a paper or a cloth one like this. And I'm so excited about it.
All right. With this shared across the board, then we'll be dialed back in. I want to talk about the uptick in emails. Let me hit Baton Rouge mattress here, and then I'll walk it right up to your money now. Okay? No, it's straight back to me, and I'll walk it right up to your money now at 50. Okay. Tell you for just a second about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2, down in the southeastern corner of the parish. Mitch and his team want to get you squared away for a good night's sleep. If you're just waking up and you're feeling a little like you didn't get the best night's sleep, it might be time for a new mattress. It might be time to check out an adjustable base. It might be time to swing by 4065 Florida Boulevard for the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Your money now. don't. Yeah, I don't even acknowledge him. I'll acknowledge him every once in a while, but for the most part, it's. So I thought I was going to have at least 45 seconds for that Baton Rouge mattress, but it was only 35. So I'm going to give them a bonus on the back end today, later on in the show.
Do you want to go to the Facebook story, or where are we going now?
Sticking with the same story, but moving over to the email part of it. And then we'll hit Starlink.
Okay.
.652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo rolling right along. Haggai Davis in with us. Haggai, before we close the book on the digital overload and move on to another topic, 40.6 billion emails, or I'm sorry, that's the increase in the number of emails delivered in February of 2021 versus February of 2020. An increase of 40.6 billion emails.
Yeah. That's how much more work is being done.
There is no facet of life where the level of over-communication we have, like, perfect example, and I think every parent can attest to this, there is way too much communication coming in from schools. Like, every single breath of every day involves an email coming from school. And it's always the most important thing ever.
Not in my world anymore, but I'll take your word on it.
Same is true at work. We actually do a pretty good job of it around here. We communicate verbally in person when we can, but there's got to be some level of oversight, and there has to have been a study done or in the works right now where someone's trying to figure out what's actually valuable and what's actually not. Like, there's got to be a hierarchy of business priority, and if you're fixated on something that's not a priority, you're missing something that is.
And I would recommend, instead of everything being in an email, because email is just way too much, using something like a Microsoft Teams, where you're using the chat inside of Teams between people instead of cluttering up a damn inbox.
Right.
It's so much more efficient to do that. Or, I like Teams. I use Teams, especially at General Informatics, we use Teams a lot. A lot more than we ever do with email.
See, we use Teams a little bit here. We have our video conferences via Teams, but there's not like a running chat going or anything. We'll use it for conference calls. We'll use it for more formal virtual meetings as well. But it's like having a Ferrari that you're never taking out of second gear.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You're not taking full advantage of
that. Being said, I don't want to. And the reason for it is we're not eliminating other forms of communication. We're just adding forms of communication to, okay, you've got Teams, but did you see the email? You got the email, but I talked to you about this on the elevator yesterday.
That's a poor use of if you're not, use Teams instead of email.
Right. But that you're going to have that level of redundancy because not everybody's on the same page about the level of everything going on. So it just... The over-communication, I think, is probably as bad, if not worse, than under-communication. Hey, don't forget, we have recycling bins throughout the building now, so please throw your paper, discard your paper in the recycling bin instead of the trash can. Also, open enrollment closes after today, so if you want health insurance, be sure to sign up. I read the first half of that email. I'm taking care of recycling now. What was the other thing I missed? Oh, goodness gracious, that was an important one.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm not citing this workplace. I'm just saying this happens in general. So, is there a hierarchy of level of importance that's being communicated? Like, the new recycling bin is not as important as your quarterly report.
Yes. So that's that work-life balance of how much work is too much to know about.
Right. No, exactly, because it all weighs you down at the end of the day. Hey, we got so much more ground to cover this morning. SpaceX's Starlink is to exit beta next month.
Yes. So their stated goal was they needed to get close to 2,400 satellites up spinning around the Earth before they could feel comfortable about exiting out of beta. So they're getting pretty close to that 2,400 number of total satellites. They're operating currently across 12 countries.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a little over 100,000 users who actively are using their system, and it's pretty fast. They have 500,000 people who've sent in their $500, and that's the backlog of people who want to start using Starlink, but they're only producing 5,000 dishes a week, so it's going to take a while for them to catch up.
So I'm curious about satellite broadband. Because for a lot of the country, well, not a lot, for a decent chunk of the country, it's going to be a game changer, totally, provided they have the hardware up top, the hardware to connect to, where installing fiber is just not an option.
Correct.
So, and this could just as easily be mountainous area as it is swamp.
Absolutely.
The sky's the same in both places.
If you have your house, if you live out in the country, you're 20 miles from a town, it's going to be really expensive and cost prohibitive to run any kind of wire out to your house for internet access. And so that's where those satellite is going to make it very, very easy to get to. But it's just getting enough dishes available to be able to receive that.
So
signal.
5,000 is where we're at?
5,000 per week is new dishes. So they're a little over 100,000 total subscribers right now that are actively using the system.
Right.
They have 500,000 wanting.
Yes.
That have already sent in their check.
Well, I mean, I haven't sent in a check, but I'd love to dive in as well.
Sure.
Just need to know that it's reliable.
Because right now in beta, because it's still in beta, if they bring it down for 2 or 3 hours to work on the system, nobody can complain because they've been telling everybody we're in beta. But when you come out of beta, when you're in full production, you can't just take your system down for 4 hours randomly.
Yeah, true. We've only got a minute left. Oh, goodness gracious. There's so much more to cover here. That the burnout topic was just, it could have been the whole segment. What's coming up on Tech Gumbo this weekend?
We're going to bring up the fact that Facebook is saying their response to the Wall Street Journal article about Instagram being toxic for little girls. Their official answer was, nuh-uh. And then we're going to deep dive into iOS 15.
It didn't take research to figure that out, and Facebook needs to stop with the petulant child act.
They have literally come out and said their new thing, Zuckerberg's, his feed is going to be nothing but positive news going forward. Everything is going to be rosy and beautiful and wonderful. No more bad news on Zuckerberg's Facebook page.
Whatever. That'll solve all your problems. You know what? You're the grandfather of social media. Start acting like it. Like, you're not Snapchat. You're not Instagram. You're sure as heck not TikTok. Start acting like the grown-up in the room. You've been around since 2004. That's eons ago.
Yep.
Tech Gumbo, Saturday and Sunday at 4, and of course, anytime on demand at talk1073.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate it, Haggai.
Anytime.
Here comes CBS.
Protect your retirement. Sleeper in time, 7 o'clock.
Let's see. Anybody else out there on?
No. So, Michigan plans their first U.S. charging road for electric vehicles. Let's talk about this while we have you during the break.
So we talked about this for the first time like 3 or 4 years ago. This was all in theory that electric cars would be able to charge while they're driving down the road. That they were going to put a electrical current through the middle of the road that's going to beam up.
Yes.
Power it so as you're driving.
Yeah, it's like those little pads when you go to charge your phone. You put your phone on the pad for a wireless charger or whatever.
Yes.
So how would this work to conduct electricity only to electrical cars?
Well, and it's not just any electrical car. It is you have to have the special adapter on. So if you have a Tesla or the Chevy Volt or one of these, and you go drive over, and it's only 1 mile stretch of road. It's the first first one to ever do something like this, and it's going to be out in the remote area of Michigan.
Oh, good. Let's do it where it can serve nobody.
Exactly, but they can prove that, hey, we did it, and so it's a proof of concept thing.
Yeah.
So that as you're driving over it, you're going to get some level of energy from the road into your batteries to help recharge, or at least offset the power that you're using as you're driving in your electric vehicle.
Okay.
I had, as my young physicist co-host was saying, I'll believe it when I see it.
Same.
It's
Same. The level of effectiveness while you're driving, I'm hard pressed to believe that this can really do anything. Now, if you wanted to do it on, like, let's say I-10 in Baton Rouge, where you're just sitting there for hours.
Yeah. So it's a proof of concept thing that will work eventually. 15 years from now, we'll probably
Sure.
have it figured out a whole lot better. But just to say we've got a power strip run between the middle of the road to say we did it. Okay, great. Good for you, Michigan.
Yeah. So, yeah, my level of curiosity is covers a lot of ground. Number one, why is the fuel for your vehicle now all of a sudden the road's responsibility? I had this discussion with head of DOTD, Sean White. No, Sean White's
not
the
Sean,
skate,
it's
surfboard,
Sean Wilson.
snowboarder. Sean Wilson.
That was Sean W.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
Sean White, yes, is a snowboarder. That's
Yes.
a little different. But I asked, we're talking about fueling stations or charging stations, I should say. I'm like, I don't drive an electric vehicle. Can you fuel my car now as well? Well, apparently you still have to pay for it with a charging station. But this, I don't see how you would. You're going to receive the charge either way.
Right. This will be I would imagine this is going to have solar panels on the side of the road that's going to just be charging those kinds of things, because you're not going to.
Well, no, I mean the driver themselves.
Right.
The driver themselves is going to enjoy the benefits of having a self-charging road or whatever you want to call it.
But that's what I'm saying. You're not going to, Entergy's not just going to give away the electricity and not charge you for it. But if the government puts a solar panel on the side of the road that's feeding that strip, then at least that's not, it's not coming off of the grid kind of thing.
My concern comes in that thinking long-term in a competitive market, gas stations cannot compete on a fair level with the government. And if the government is here to subsidize and supplement electric cars, now we saw them try it with solar energy about, a decade or so ago. I took advantage of it myself because it was out there, it was available. But if I have the choice of I could buy an electric car and I know I've got charging stations throughout, or I've got a road I can just drive over and my car will be refueled, or I can pay whatever $2.69 a gallon over on the run or racetrack or wherever the case might be. Like, if I'm looking at those two, that's going to factor into my decision as to what kind of car I'm going to buy.
If you pull up to recharge your electric vehicle, it's going to cost you about somewhere between $1 to $2 for a full recharge that'll take you 300 miles.
Awesome.
Or it's going to cost you $30 at the gas station.
30
to 40.
Okay.
However much, at roughly.
I was going to say,
$2.50
well, you know what I drive, so you know it's 30. My little clown car.
But I drive a Hyundai, and it's 12, 13 gallons in a tank. It's about $30 ish. I don't always go down to bone dry.
I do. If I'm not under 5 miles, I'm not stopping. I've gotten it down as physically zero before.
See you, YouTube.
Appreciate you, hi guy. Thanks, man. You say complete collision? Complete collision? Okay. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along, hour two coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Jake Barty producing. Thanks again to Haggai Davis for stopping in for a cup of Tech Gumbo for a full serving. Check out Tech Gumbo Saturdays and Sundays at 4, and of course, anytime on demand at talk1073.com. Got a busy hour lined up this hour. John Davis is already in the building. We're going to talk about Good Day Farms coming up in our next segment. We're going to talk about medicinal marijuana in our next segment. What's the state of the industry right now in Louisiana? How far is Louisiana lagging behind, and where can we be going? That's coming up in our next segment. Also this hour, let's talk a little bit about the Baton Rouge Zoo. Why? Because 1 week from today is Brew at the zoo. It's back, baby. Events at the zoo are back, and this is the first of a handful of events that are coming up over the next couple months. Robyyn Lott from the zoo is going to hop on the hotline about 35 minutes from right now. Right now, though, time for top stories and trending. Let's get it. The Louisiana Workforce Commission announced a new benefit for the self-employed that could affect between 10 and 15,000 people in the state, and it pays $100 a week. To qualify for the new benefit, you must be self-employed and have collected pandemic-related unemployment between December of last year and July of this year. Officials at the commission say the pandemic's not over. People are still in need of money. Their goal is to make sure everyone eligible gets the extra money. The Louisiana Workforce Commission will contact those who qualify. However, you can reach out if you think you may qualify but have not yet been contacted. Visit the Workforce Commission's website. A man arrested in a 2012 sex crime involving a preteen at a local church was convicted a second time after he was granted a second trial in East Baton Rouge Parish. 28-year-old Kevin Guzman was found guilty in 2019, but a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision banning convictions by non-unanimous juries led to that conviction being tossed out. How many times do we say this is just going to mean more people are going to be found guilty again later on? Guzman was accused of forcing a 12-year-old girl to perform certain acts on him on two different occasions when he was 19. One of those incidents reportedly happened in the soundproof production room of a church. The Advocate reports Guzman was convicted again Tuesday on a charge of sexual battery. He will face sentencing on January 11th. After a surge in hospitalizations caused a huge strain on doctors and nurses in recent months, Louisiana reports the number of patients hospitalized with the coronavirus has dropped to its lowest point since late July. Yesterday, the Department of Health reported 1,192 people were being treated for the virus in hospitals statewide. 218 of those are on ventilators. Now, the overall caseload and the number of deaths is still at an unacceptable clip. 1,500 new coronavirus cases were reported yesterday. The number of new deaths reported yesterday was, I believe, 55. I don't have it in front of me. Positivity rate is dropping as well. It's now down to 5.12%. Authorities responded to reports of a shooting that left two people hurt yesterday afternoon. The shooting was reported shortly before 5 p.m. on Dayton Street near Pawtucket Street. Police said two male victims were hit by gunfire. At least one of them was seriously hurt. This is an ongoing investigation. So a federal grand jury in northern Louisiana indicted a disgraced Louisiana state trooper in yet another blow to the agency, facing harsh criticism over its handling of troopers' violent interactions with minorities, specifically African Americans. Our news partners at WBRZ have been all over this story. We've been checking in on it periodically. Yesterday, Jacob Brown was indicted for excessive force against Aaron Bowman. Chris Nakamoto over at WBRZ had previously reported Bowman was hit numerous times with some sort of an object, I believe a flashlight, at a traffic stop back in May of 2019. Brown is the son of a former second-in-command of state police, Bob Brown. That is a look at your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Expecting a package? Well, FedEx has a shortage of workers, and it's taking a toll in real life. A shortage of workers is putting the brakes on shipping. FedEx is blaming workforce issues for causing serious delays. A lot of those delays are felt in our area, but FedEx says this is an issue all over, and the problem centers around the workforce shortage. They revealed this week that at one hub in Portland, Oregon, it's operating with about 65% of the staffing needed to handle their normal volume. That's resulting in FedEx diverting 25% of the volume that would normally flow through that hub. FedEx says across the ground network, more than 600,000 packages are being rerouted daily. They announced this week that their rates are going up at the beginning of the year as well. This increase is about 6% and a little more for freight. FedEx says the increases will help continue to balance capacity and demand because they couldn't get the job done on the current level. So, obviously, charge the customer more. That's your look at top stories and trending. Going to take a quick break here in just a second. When we come back from that break, we are talking with John Davis from Good Day Farms. Before we take that break, though, got to ask you about your vehicle in times of an accident. Things happen quickly on the road. Things happen quickly if you find yourself in an accident. You got to make sure everybody's okay. Make sure everybody in the other vehicle's okay. Start to assess damage. Figure out who you're going to call, where you're going to take your car. Might I suggest Complete Collision Center? Check them out online at CompleteCollision.com. CompleteCollision.com. Go there to find, there's two locations, Plank Road in Zachary and Perkins Road just east of Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Visit CompleteCollision.com to grab their phone number. Put their phone number in your phone. You want to have this number before you even get into an accident. Because if your first phone call is to your insurance company, the fight's already started. They're going to tell you where they feel you should send your car. Here's the thing, though. It's not up to them. It's up to you. You want to go to CompleteCollision.com because they're certified by more than a dozen manufacturers. The people who make the car say they know how to fix it. You want to go to Complete Collision because they have the iCar Gold Class certification, which right from jump puts them in the top 15% of body shops nationwide. Check them out online at CompleteCollision.com. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. What does Troy say here? No, that's actually not true. Yes, that's Paula Davis's husband, but she recused herself from the vote. Come on in, man. What's happening, dude? Good to see you again. Right here. Yeah. The little hydraulic or whatever on the other one just kind of gave out, so it's like sitting at the kids' table at Thanksgiving.
So I'm gonna put it down low. Is this close enough?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Good. That's a favorite question.
What? Yeah. Yeah, it's she was very upfront about it during the Rotary meeting.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, we're always hot on YouTube. So, camera's right over there.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's.
Well, she voluntarily recuses herself from all marijuana votes when I was asked to become involved.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not on any committees where this goes through.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always been totally transparent. Plus, everything went through public bid laws. Everything was under sunshine. And, in fact, I think everybody knows who I'm married to.
Yeah.
I think it would be the other way if we were trying to hide something.
Right? It's just that nefarious.
It is. It's like, good grief. Am I close enough?
I'll know in a second.
Okay. Okay.
7:14, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So, I was at the Rotary Club meeting on Wednesday. Speakers John Davis was talking about the medical marijuana program in Louisiana. John is with Good Day Farm. Is it farm or farms?
Farm.
Farm. Just one farm.
Just one.
Right now.
We have two farms, Baton Rouge and Ruston.
Okay.
But two farms.
So Good Day Farm is heading up the medical marijuana growth or growing of the medical marijuana, the actual physical plants themselves in Louisiana. Welcome. After hearing you on Wednesday, I was like, we've got to dive into this. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine. And let me say,
yeah,
what have you done with Brian Haldane? You are looking amazing.
Oh, Go Slim Nutrition. So I'll be over there today for my weigh-in. It's a weekly weigh-in. It's a protein-based diet. You can get diet food anywhere, but it's all about accountability. Vicky and her team are super supportive. Obviously, they've gotten somewhere with me. I'm down over 50 pounds already. I've got a little bit more to go. But thank you. I appreciate you noticing.
Yeah,
That's nice.
it takes a lot of hard work, so I appreciate what you're doing.
They make it fit within my life. For a perfect example, when I go over there today, I already know because I stepped on a scale this morning, I'm going to be down by 1.2 pounds this week. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but my anniversary, my 20th anniversary was on Wednesday. So the wife and I went out to eat. We went out to Ruffino's. I threw it on a New York strip, had the Brussels sprouts, and then creme brulee. Yes, a bottle of wine. Like, I'm not killing myself to get it done. You know, I haven't turned my life upside down. They've worked within my lifestyle. That's why they're super effective. Anyway, They just got a free spot. There's spots later on in the show, but no, I love talking about. I love singing their praises because it works.
Definitely. Well, thank you for having me. We're so excited.
Yes.
Because we have just taken another step in many big steps to improve patient access to medical marijuana. In January of 22, smokable marijuana will be available to patients in Louisiana for the first time.
Let's actually we'll get to that in just a second.
You
Let's
bet.
start with where we're at right now.
Yes.
And how
we got here?
how did we get here? Because this story is equal parts amazing that we are where we are and frustrating that we are where we are. Like, is that dichotomy just sounds that duality sounds weird, but it's true. It's like all of a sudden one day everybody in real life says medical marijuana is effective and safe and showing results, but still regulations within the state legislature, like the rules that come down, they've made it darn near impossible. So how did we get where we are?
So we got where we are because a lot of people came together in 2015 and 2016 to say we need a medical marijuana program. So at the legislature, before I was ever involved, Senator Fred Mills pulled this together. He had to pull together a lot of different interests. So there are a lot of different competing factors, but everyone came together to create a program. But you have to crawl before you walk,
right?
And that's exactly what we did. Now, if you compare it to other states, they went through the exact same things, except we weren't living there to see exactly how they progressed.
Right.
We just read the newspaper article that said, "Hey, they're a mature market." So we started very small. And we started with few products. We started with few doctors. We started with a lot of restrictions, a lot of oversight. We still have a lot of oversight. We still have a lot of testing, but we've been able to expand the room for doctors to participate. All they need to do now is send an email over to the Board of Pharmacy saying they would like to expand their CDS license to include medical marijuana, rather than all of the other burdensome rules that prevented them from participating. We also got rid of all of the limited, narrow swim lane of conditions. Now it is a very traditional doctor-patient relationship where you can go see your doctor. You could talk about your condition and whether medical marijuana is an appropriate treatment option. So we've gone through that. If it takes time to go through that, we had to demonstrate our trustworthiness, our reliability. We had to go through suitability examinations by state police. There are a lot of steps before we get to where we are. And we've never had a problem in the industry. No doctors, no pharmacies, no cultivators, no issues whatsoever. We had to show that to our parents that we could take the keys to the car.
Right, and that brings us to where we are right now. But I do want to take one moment to take a look at some of the other states that are further down the road than we are. Have we seen issues as they continue to advance their programs? Has there been any lessons learned from elsewhere that we can take into account in Louisiana and say, Oregon did this, let's not do that? Well, that sort of thing.
What we've seen is the better example is seeing what they've done. They've gone too far too fast.
That's where I'm going. Yes,
that's right. So it wasn't were they restrictive in the beginning. What the lessons learned are those states that have gone too far too fast. When you go too far too fast, you can't reel it back in. So if you overtax, well, I'm sorry. How difficult is it going to be to bring that tax back? You can't do it.
No.
And if you allow every street corner to have a dispensary, you can't bring that back in. So the lessons learned, and if you look at the other states that came online similar to Louisiana, we're all learning from those other states that went too far too fast.
So where we are right now versus where we're going to be when a smokable product is available, for the same medicinal list that was, or the same list of conditions that we have right now, What's the big difference here? What's the difference between a tincture or an edible versus a smokable?
That's a great question. When patients go in and talk to the pharmacist in charge, talk to their doctor, they learn about what are the differences. So an ingestible product like a gummy has to go through your digestive system. So it takes longer to take effect. But because it takes longer to take effect, it has a longer window of relief.
Okay.
Versus inhalation, like a vape or smokable marijuana, then it's quicker relief. So if you're in pain, you need to address that pain quickly.
Okay.
It's quick relief, but it's a shorter window. So the longer it takes to take effect, the larger window. The shorter time it takes to take effect, the shorter window.
The quicker you start, the quicker you're done. I mean,
Exactly.
It is that simple.
So that's the reason why we want to give different choices to patients.
Okay, and it makes sense when you phrase it like that. It makes sense to say that when you're in pain, you're not thinking, "I'd like to get rid of this pain 2-3 hours from now." I'm guessing a time frame. Is that about right?
Well, it's about 45 minutes to about an hour.
For ingestible?
For ingestibles.
Okay.
And it depends upon whether you just had a steak at Ruffino's.
Okay. Tell you, the New York strip was on the specials that night. It's really good.
Wonderful.
We moved to smokable product, which would have more immediate effects for pain relief, probably more so than nausea. But the nausea factor and all the other side factors pain relief is going to rule the day, right? Because there's no greater application here. We're going to get around to opioids in a minute. But pain relief is probably the headliner. There are so many other different applicable reasons for medical marijuana as well. What are the few of the ones that, if not surprise you, just don't show up on everyone's radar?
Yeah, so pain relief is the most studied clinical condition that's connected with relief from medical marijuana. There are Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome. There's Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis with the tremors. There is sleep disorders, so it enable you to sleep. You could go through the list, and we're only hitting the tip of the iceberg because this has been illegal. So there hasn't been as many clinical trials as we would hope to see exactly what does this miracle plant do to help all these other conditions. But we have moms with children with autism or seizure disorders, and they call, and it's very humbling because they say we've gone from 100 seizures down to about 10 a day. So
it's ridiculous.
It's amazing, and it's a plant. This isn't a chemical like an opioid that has all of these other side effects. This is a plant.
Let's talk about opioids. It's been a topic on the show repeatedly. The epidemic has been ridiculous. Every turn of every corner, as awareness grows, so does the enemy. The enemy continues to change. It's no longer prescription pills. It's now, I just call it poison. Fentanyl on the street is just poison. It's not even a drug anymore. It's just straight up poison. So you go from Oxycontin to heroin to fentanyl. All these things classify as opioids. The battle to fight them has been, I'm sorry, but a losing one. This year we're going to have a record number of opioid deaths. After last year we had a record number of opioid deaths, which followed the previous year that brought us a record number of opioid deaths. We keep setting a new bar. Now you've got medical marijuana in the mix, which can be an overall just a straight-up game changer. How does it compare side by side from effectiveness and the receptiveness of the market?
So I'll give you an example or two examples in Pennsylvania, and I believe it might have been Ohio. The last studies that I saw was when they rolled out medical marijuana programs, that opioid use went down 20%. That was just the first year. So you'll see what the second year and the third year, but I haven't seen those reports yet. So we're anticipating that in Louisiana, which we know Louisiana has a huge crisis. The effectiveness, medical marijuana is a pain reliever. It's an analgesic, anti-inflammatory, and it also is a sleep aid.
Yes.
Why are we going to the opioids? For all of those reasons and more.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. And the pain reliever is one aspect of it, but the mental addiction as well. That plays a big factor into it. If you've got the sleep aid or the anxiety relief that goes along with it, then now you're talking about having an actual viable opponent to an opioid. And when it comes to, you mentioned this in the Rotary Club meeting the other day, when it comes to overdosing, you can overdose on an opioid.
Yes.
And now, phrase it the way you phrased it at the meeting the other day. What's the possibility of overdosing on marijuana?
So the DEA conducted a review of all medical reports and studies and found that there's never been a reported death from medical marijuana overdose, period. And then by comparison, they reported that there are 6 deaths per day from simply alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Gives you kind of comparison.
Yeah, it really does. So, smokable will into the market.
Yes.
From there, we look at broadening the market. We look at, hopefully, I'm speaking as a proponent of this, obviously.
Yes, sure.
We look at broadening the market. Those who would be eligible to fall into the list of requirements to where you can get a prescription. From there, you would look to go to full-on recreational. Is there a timeline for any of this, or is it just take it as it comes?
So just to be specific, right now, there is no swim lane of condition. You can go to your doctor of choice and talk to your doctor about your medical condition, whatever that condition is, whether it's you're not able to sleep, whether you got a disc issue in your back, whatever the issue is, and then you can get a recommendation if it's appropriate for you.
Okay.
So that's first. So where do we go from here as far as recreation? You know, that's so far in the future and something that has been discussed. It's up to the legislature and all the stakeholders and the regulators to decide. For me to guess right now, I'm flipping coins.
It feels weird because, like, this is something that for such a long time was public enemy number one. For such a long time, and you look at the overall landscape of the drug world or the war on drugs in America right now. Look at the Mexican cartels and the power they have. And when you really rewind the clock, we gave them that power by giving them a market. Had this been the way, instead of it being some kind of modern day prohibition, where would we be right now?
It's when you take a step back, you say, law enforcement, public citizens, legislators, we all try to do our best to address issues as they come up in time. And we have to study history, too, to see whether somebody tried that same problem or to address that problem the same way. And did it work or did it fail? So sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't get it right, but we're always trying our best. And so we tried our best to negate the illegal market, but all we have been doing, as we see in these other markets, is we're creating a more robust illegal market.
Yeah.
When you look at the analyses, when we limit things, it only means that people are going to go somewhere else to get them.
Right.
So we need to appropriately regulate it, test it, oversee it. Look at alcohol now. We can go to Albertsons, for example, and purchase alcohol. Nobody's making gin in a bathtub anymore.
Exactly. And that plays into it as well, because you don't know when it's handled this way, it's handled in a professional way that has oversight. We got 2 minutes left, and I've got like 19 other things to ask you. So
we can go for 2 hours.
I'm bringing you back, so don't worry about that. Pricing and variety.
Yes.
Pricing wise, where are we at? Just a rough estimate of what something would cost.
So we are the wholesaler. LSU Ag Center, Good Day Farm, in partnership, we're the wholesaler. Because we're connected with a public institution, we're very acutely aware of wholesale price. So our wholesale price is very consistent with all the other mature markets. We then wholesale it to the 9 pharmacies, and they set the retail price. So what the retail pricing might be from each of those different pharmacies, that's really a question for them.
Okay. Can you give me a ballpark?
I don't know.
No worries. Yeah. The reason I ask about pricing is because if we want to eliminate the illegal side of this, it's got to be competitive.
Oh, I totally agree. If you make it 2 or 3 times more than what the street is selling it for, you're losing and you're creating a valuable illegal market. In addition, the illegal market's not taxed.
Right.
So we're taxed, and if we overprice it, we're not, here's the key, we're not giving patients access to medical marijuana.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got so much more ground to cover. You're probably going to be a regular around here in the very near future because we didn't get to variety, we didn't get to insurance costs, so much more, but we are out of time for today.
You bet.
He is John Davis with the Happy Day Farm.
Good Day Farm.
I keep saying happy. That's twice I've done that this morning. Good Day Farm in conjunction with the LSU Ag Center. the wholesaler behind the medical marijuana, where the product is coming from, and this is a world that's going to continue to open up to us. We're just going to have to continue it another time. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Brian.
I appreciate it. We are coming up on CBS News. We'll check our local news on the back end of that. Time to talk to the Baton Rouge Zoo about Brew at the Zoo. Yeah, you got some of the questions you had, and we're still on YouTube.
Sure.
So some of the questions that you had on.
So you can ask me, and then this will go out to people. So
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
continue? Oh,
Anybody's
great. Perfect.
watching on YouTube is
Okay,
fine.
good. Well, ask away because
yeah.
lots of quick. So strains.
Yes.
So we've always had strain specific products, and they're full spectrum. So versus taking just the THC out, we're giving the patient the full spectrum of all the cannabinoids, the terpenes, the CBD, CBG, and THC. So they're getting the full, what they call the entourage effect, rather than just being hit with THC. So the studies have shown entourage effect better, limiting which chemical compound you get, not as good. So we've been always doing that, but we couldn't come out and say, let's put out alien rock candy the first go, because that's too shocking, right?
Right. No, it is.
Right. But we have started to roll out. We have Jenny Kush. You can purchase strain-specific Jenny Kush, Bruce Banner, alien rock candy, lilac diesel, and we're coming out with, I think we've got 30 in our stable.
Okay. So complete novice here. Like, I have no clue. What's the difference?
So that every strain has a different chemical profile. So, and I don't have the details. So, for example, strain A might have 27% THC and 3% CBD and so on. It might have a different terpene.
I mean,
profile.
is this like a Coke versus Pepsi, or like is it like a
totally? It's all cannabis sativa, but you're growing a different variety of potato. So you got
let me re-ask the question.
Yeah.
Is the difference in the way it tastes, the harshness, like is
Yes.
the difference in the effects of it? Like, will I be like more tired on one, more pain relief on another? Is that
Yes,
Okay.
all of the above. So it's going to have the different flavor, which is of course is a patient
Yeah.
choice, and then also with the different chemical profile, you may decide for you, Brian, that for your condition, Bruce Banner that hits the spot. Or for me, I might try Bruce Banner and say, you know what, that doesn't work for me. I got to try Lilac Diesel or
Okay.
Grease Monkey. Because it's got a different profile that might fit your receptors. It's science. It's science.
Is there a way to adopt more? I don't want to sound like the curmudgeon in the room, but is there a way to adopt a more professional sounding name?
Why?
I
Why?
don't
Do you want
to make it sellable to those who aren't on board already, to make the idea more palatable.
so buy the product that doesn't have the name on it and it has the exact same
Right.
constituency.
Okay.
So it's why it is the name of the plant. Are we going to stop calling it sweet potato because we don't like sweet and we want sour?
Well, it just I don't know.
I
It
know.
just sounds to say what was it? Alien
Alien
rock
rock
candy.
candy.
Yeah. That just it sounds funny, but there's science behind it. I get
And
that.
these are the names.
I know.
So it would be disrespectful, in fact, to change the name
Mm-hmm.
of someone else's creation because, as I mentioned during Rotary, there are stories behind all of these.
You
names.
did. And
So,
the-
so it's also an homage to the people that have been doing this, that are believers, that are passionate about
Yes.
patients.
Yeah, and if I recall from the Rotary meeting, there's an homage to those that has helped as well.
Yes, it
So
has.
which is cool, and when told like that, makes it that much more palatable to begin with.
Yeah,
it
it is what
so-
it is.
yeah.
And if we try to disguise it, then we're not being in the sunshine, transparent, letting people know exactly what they're getting.
And that's the right call. Ultimately, that's the right
Yeah.
call. I'm gonna laugh when I hear
course.
lilac diesel.
Yeah.
I mean that's it just
Well, we're slowly rolling them out because we wanted to get people comfortable. Patients wanted to be. I had a lady who, big GOP participant in North Louisiana, and her response after going through this was, it was respectful. They were not judgmental. They were very informative from the doctor to the pharmacist. And I thought, okay, this is stereotype, very conservative person.
right.
And this is what they felt. They felt very positive after. And the results, she said she hadn't slept like that for years.
So, well, I
There's a
don't,
lot of
I don't know how to ask this while we're still in some way, shape, or form on the record.
Ask it. I'm transparent.
How many legislators wanted to sample before voting yes?
I would say that there's probably, and the answer is I don't know that.
Okay.
'Cause that nobody comes to me because I can't provide them samples.
Okay.
But what I'll say is that the trends and acceptance levels in Louisiana are above 70%.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a younger legislature. So they are also accepting and more aware of this, right? The greatest generation was probably the really hard just say no. But what we're seeing is the average age of our patients is above 55.
Did you do weather?
The average age of our patients is above 55.
That's awesome.
I mean, think
Well,
about that.
but because it coincides with cancer patients and whatnot.
Yeah.
I got to hop back on.
You bet.
Robin should be calling in. Okay. You've had blowback from law enforcement. I want to make that an entire segment.
You bet.
Because I would imagine the blowback in law enforcement changes because every time you hear about a shooting that was a drug deal gone bad, you never hear about a shooting that was a Walgreens drive-through gone bad.
Right.
So, well, and the only official I want to hear from in that regard is the coroner. So, anyway.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for coming in. I greatly appreciate it.
Anytime. We've got so much to cover.
I know.
It's a wonderful topic.
And the thing is, I've yet to try it. That's the crazy part. So, I'm sold though.
I don't have any
737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Trying to get samples out of John Davis before he gets out of the building. He turned his pockets inside out to prove that he did not have anything on him.
It was unsuccessful.
It is what it is. This world that we're entering with this is going to be amazing. One of the things we were talking about during the break, and the conversation continued. If you didn't see it on YouTube, go check out the YouTube page later on, which I've posted links to on both my Twitter and my Facebook. Most of the blowback you see from advancing in the medical marijuana realm or even recreational marijuana, most of the blowback you see is going to come from two spots. Number one, the religious community, and number two, the law enforcement community. But I would challenge the religious community. They're going to have an argument that's not based on statistics. They're going to have an argument that's based on quote-unquote morals and how their morals are different, blah, blah, blah. But from a law enforcement perspective, I want to ask this question. How many homicides or drug deals gone bad versus how many homicides are prescription drugs gone bad within a pharmacy? Like Aladdin said, it's a whole new world. All right, 1 week from tonight, we have got Brew at the Zoo coming up. Joining us now from Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo is Robyyn Lott. Robyyn, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. We're 1 week away from Brew at the Zoo, and I'm just excited that events are back to begin with. Is it about the same tone from the zoo?
Same, 100%. We unfortunately had to cancel Brew at the Zoo last year, so we are thrilled we were able to have it this year.
So this is not the first event back, though. Y'all had a wine thing not too long ago.
Oh, yeah. We've had plenty of events in this COVID era. But, yes, we had our Wild Wine Walk in the spring of this year. It was the first time we put that one on, and it was a massive success. So it will become a new annual event for us as well.
Well, if wine's going to be a success, then I would assume the return of Brew at the Zoo, and this is not the first go-around with this one, is going to follow suit. So for those that are unfamiliar with the event, what can they expect?
For sure. So this is our 7th annual Brew at the Zoo. Mm-hmm. We will have over 200 craft beers on hand. Everything from some of the home breweries to some that you maybe have seen in the grocery stores and have always wanted to try but maybe didn't want to take the plunge. This will be an opportunity to taste those and make some decisions on some new favorites. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have food sampling from a variety of restaurants and eateries in town that will be doing samplings throughout the evening. And then we also have entertainment from Michael Brandt, also the Michael Foster Project, several others. And one of the fun things we've added this year is we have opened up a little bit more of the footprint of the zoo. So if you've ever been to Brew at the Zoo, in the past it takes place more at the front entrance of the zoo, but we've actually opened up a little bit more in the hopes that we spread folks out just a little bit more and so that we give our folks a little bit more opportunity to meander and see a little bit of the zoo.
I'm glad to hear that because isn't that kind of the whole point? I mean, the whole point is we we have this resource here in the zoo, so, utilizing it. How much of a footprint are you allowed to check out, though?
I would say it's probably opened up about another 25%. So,
Okay, wow. All right, good.
unfortunately, because we are because it's dark when we have the event, we want to make sure that we keep everybody safe, and
Sure.
so we don't have proper lighting to be able to do the whole zoo at this point. But yes, we are allowing folks to spread a little more. VIP area this year will be in Realm of the Tiger, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, we'll be selling our T-shirts, which are super cute this year. We actually don't have a ton left, so if anybody's interested, we certainly recommend they go ahead and get on top of that before we sell out. Our VIP's actually already sold out. So,
Oh, wow, good to know.
so those are done, but we certainly have some general admission remaining if anyone's still interested in trying to make sure they've got a spot.
And you can order those tickets straight from BRZooBrew.org, BRZooBrew.org. And it's coming up 1 week from tonight, 6 to 10 p.m. at Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. Now, this is just this event right here with Brew at the Zoo is the first in a string that y'all have coming up to round out the year, because after this, not long after, will be Brew at the Zoo.
Correct. We have a marathon in the fall and winter, but we love it, and we think the community does too. So yes, Brew at the Zoo is next Friday. Brew at the Zoo is the 16th, 17th, 23rd, and 24th, and then we have Zoo Run in November. So, and right after that we have Zoo Lights.
Zoo Lights
So it's
rounds
pretty
it out.
much a constant rotation of activity and events at the zoo.
So with Brew at the Zoo and with Zoo Lights, you're talking about two events that are in the evening time when you can't fully experience the animals, but you do get the full ambiance of the zoo for both. So for those that have not experienced either of them, what's it like being in the zoo after dark?
Yeah, I think that's kind of part of the appeal to a lot of folks is that they've never been to the zoo in the dark at night. And it makes it kind of cool because you might hear the roar of a tiger in the background, but you can't see him. So it makes it a little spooky but cool at the same time. So, yeah, it's got a neat feel. It's a lot of the reason why we have folks, believe it or not, that host weddings and other special events at the zoo, like private events. And I think it's a lot of the reason why that appeals to them because it's a unique setting. Folks are always looking for cool places to have events that are outside of just the, typical hotel ballroom, and the zoo definitely gives it that vibe.
And I didn't mean to skip right past the Zoo Run, which comes in between those two. What are the dates on that? What's the date on that? And
It's November the 13th.
Okay.
And actually, the registration for that is already open.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't promoted it a ton only because we've got these other events coming up first, but it will be at the zoo again this year, and it will be a 2-mile race, and then we also have a half-mile fun run for the kids, and folks can register for that on our main website, BRZoo.org. But that's, again, the cool thing about the run as well as Brew at the Zoo, those both are events that are for philanthropy. So they support our conservation efforts to save animals in the wild. So you're really not only having fun, but you're also doing good at the same time.
While I've got you, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the state of the construction right now. I like to get check-ins on how y'all are doing with moving the entrance to the other side and the other goings-on that you're working on right now.
Construction's coming along, so if you have not been to the zoo in a while, I certainly encourage everyone to come. I mean, the weather's gorgeous, so this weekend should be fantastic, but you'll start to see some major progress. So the night houses for our giraffes are starting to go up, so you can actually see a lot of progress there if you go over by the giraffe exhibit. And then the underwater viewing for our new pygmy hippo exhibit. That area, you can see some construction really making some movement. So we're coming right along. We certainly have had some delays, as you can imagine, with weather as well as supply chain issues and things of that nature. So just like everyone else in the construction industry. But if you have not been in a while, you will definitely see some changes happening when you come by.
Okay, I did not even know about the pygmy hippo thing because that's like one of my frustrations is like when the hippo decides to get in the water, he disappears.
Right, exactly.
So that's awesome. I love this idea.
Yeah, so it'll actually be the vibe that you get when you go to an aquarium and you can actually see the animal through the glass. So there'll be the capability to see the animal above the water, but then you can also see them under the water. And it will be a mixed species exhibit with a colobus monkey. So we will have those as well as the pygmy hippos, which we already have the pygmy hippos. It's just that the exhibit doesn't allow the viewing that it's going to have in the future. So it'll be a lot more interactive and immersive for our guests.
Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. In the meanwhile, we're 1 week away from Brew at the Zoo. BRZooBrew.org is where you get your general admission tickets and your T-shirts. VIP is all done. Brew at the Zoo is 7 to 10 p.m. next Friday night. Robyyn, thank you so much for hopping on board today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, the hippo thing. It's if you've never experienced it's easy to miss in the zoo. But when the hippo gets into water, it's like, where is it? It's because the water's closest to the little, protection wall that keeps, the fence, the wall that keeps them in there. So that's a cool thing to be able to see them under the water. I love that idea. That's awesome. Brew at the Zoo, like we said, 7 to 10 next Friday night. All right. I wanted to dive into some FEMA numbers. If the effectiveness of a hybrid mattress or a cooling gel mattress goes away, if you're one that runs a little hot in the night, if you're one that sweats in the bed all night long, you might want to check out a cooling gel mattress or a hybrid mattress. It is still Louisiana, regardless of what the temperature is outside. So if the warm weather's not here right now, it will be coming back in short order. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what they've got going on at either 4065 Florida Boulevard or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier. If you need directions to either location, let me give you a phone number. For Florida Boulevard, Mid-City, 930-5779. For Jefferson and Hoosier 18181 Jefferson Highway, 223-6001. Financing is available. Great deals are available. If you mention you heard about it here, you will get free delivery at either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Oh, by the way, check out adjustable bases. I don't have one yet, but I got the test drive one the last time I was visiting Mitch over there. I was swinging by the Florida Boulevard location, and I got to tell you, bit of a game changer. You need to lift up the legs to change up circulation. Raise up the back to stop the snoring, whatever the case might be. The adjustable base is the way to go. All right, so FEMA's hard at work right now, and they've been putting out a number of press releases. I've been trying to keep up with them on the show a little bit. The latest of those, what info does FEMA ask for in their application process? Quick answer, well, the application asks many questions for which you'll have the answers at the tip of your tongue. There are things like name, home address, name of the people you live with. There's required information to apply for FEMA assistance as well that you will need to gather ahead of time, such as Social Security numbers for your family members. If your home was damaged and you had to move into a friend's home, FEMA's going to want to know the address where you're staying, what that phone number is as well, so they can track you down in times of need. Now, all that being said, while FEMA's getting all this information out there, oh, by the way, saving your receipts, uploading your receipts, all very, very important to the process as well. FEMA's doing their level best to make sure everyone knows what they need without getting scammed. If you get a phone call from someone, don't be ready to not hand out that information. If you're the one seeking assistance from them, different story. But they're warning folks, be very aware and very active, proactive, if you will, that the scammers are out there right now, and FEMA does not want you to get taken. All right, we've got Your Money Now coming your way right now. After that, we will check in with the Outside In on Talk 107.3. What? The medicinal marijuana segment is one that I it needs to be a regular, because there's so much information that has to be, what's the word? Siloed. Like, I could do just a segment on law enforcement. I could do just a segment on nausea relief, just a segment on pain relief, just a segment on anxiety. Like, the more I read about it, and I'm such a nerd because all I do is read about it.
Well, there's just so much that not everyone knows about. Right. Some people may fall into the category of just going immediately into what stereotype that we were all fed to believe for the longest time.
Right, which the backstory on that is interesting, too. I'll be right back. Give me water.
Yeah, I've read up on that. It's quite interesting. But also the BRZoo I found very interesting. I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. If anything, I'm trying to go. That sounds like a really fun time.
Yeah, Brew at the Zoo is a fun event. I've been to it before. It's a good time.
Never heard of it, but as soon as she started talking about it, I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, I need to go. Like, that sounds like a blast.
What did I do with all of my show prep? That's all Tech Gumbo. God, I was so over-prepared for Tech Gumbo today. That's more of Tech Gumbo.
You have,
Okay. I'll do BRPT here since they sponsored this segment. I'll do Mooyah before tossing to you for the stay in history. Yeah, unless they've got an event. There's what 3 or 4 events all year long that are in the evening, so it'd be daytime otherwise. I'm gonna hang on to that for the next time. That's fine. Okay. Is there another 30 seconds on this? 50? Okay. .755 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way shortly. In Hour 3, we're going to get caught up on all things Metro Council. Laurie White-Adams going to be in studio. I don't know if she's in studio on the hotline, but joining us at 8:15. Then at 8:40 this morning, we're talking with Patrick Coogan about Tiger Air. First of all, what is Tiger Air? What are they doing? Well, they're keeping football helmets cool is the short answer there. How'd Patrick Coogan get involved with these guys? Can't wait to have this discussion. It really is revolutionary, and if you've followed football for any length of time, you know how well overdue this level of technology and level of safety is. So that's all coming up next hour. In just a second, we're going to get you to the outside in. Actually, the outside in every day is brought to you by the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. They've got 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area. You'll find them outside in. You'll find them in Ascension. You will find them in Livingston. You'll find them right here in East Baton Rouge as well. And you will have found them for the longest time of anybody doing physical therapy in Baton Rouge. They basically introduced physical therapy to Baton Rouge close to 60 years ago. Look, when you've been around that long, you learn what you're doing, you know what you're doing. You know how to sit down, talk about getting to the root of the problems, talk about the comfort level with physical therapy as well, and put together a plan that can service you. Give them a call at 917-9185. Get your complimentary screening at 917-9185, or visit brptlake.com. Get back to being your best you physically with a little physical therapy at brptlake.com. Time for the outside in. Let's get it. Minutes. Oh, we're going to start off in Ascension Parish. A letter of termination has officially hit the desk of Parish President Clint Quinmaw nearly 3 months after council members voted to remove him from his position overseeing the area's drainage projects. In the letter, Councilman Dempsey Lambert informed Quinmaw his termination will be effective 60 days after notice. Keeping it in Ascension Parish, Hurricane Ida may have passed through weeks ago, but the impact can still be seen. Homes are damaged. A lot of roofs are covered with blue tarps. Many people seeking help as they try to get back on their feet. Because of this, the parish just opened up a new FEMA Disaster Recovery Center. It's at 1112 Southeast Ascension Complex Boulevard. The presence in Ascension from FEMA is the first they've seen since 2016. Office hours Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. until further notice. Trying to make this a one-stop shop. All the questions you have that you feel like you're not getting anywhere with, visit 1112 Southeast Ascension Complex Boulevard. They're looking to open up a second location in Donaldsonville, but they're not there yet. A canine service dog in Livingston Parish died from heat exhaustion last month after being left in a deputy's vehicle. Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office confirmed yesterday, over a month after the incident. The dog died on August 20th after being left in the vehicle. The Sheriff's Office has not released further the details about what happened or how the deputy responsible for Ivar, the canine, was disciplined. Closing out in Tangipahoa Parish, several more nursing home residents have died in recent weeks after they were crammed into a mass shelter where hundreds were taken to ride out Hurricane Ida. The state's hesitant to link the latest deaths to the evacuation that happened nearly a month ago. Louisiana Department of Health confirmed the death toll among the roughly 850 residents taken to the warehouse in Independence has risen to 15 as of yesterday. That is the Outside In, presented by brptlake.com. Let's hit CBS News. So you are in studio. Come on in. I appreciate that greatly. Well, thank you very much. That's why you have no need to do that, but you're more than welcome to. Yeah, between the pandemic and Ida, that's a lot of people are doing that. So I drink too much, so yeah, that's just all sugars.
Yeah, and I like candy. I like just that. It's that nervous thing of constantly wanting to chew on something.
Yeah, yep, and sugar is reinforcing in the brain, so.
So what are you doing specifically?
It's called Go Slim. You know where Rouse's is at on the corner of Bluebonnet and Perkins? Yeah. It's right next door to that Rouse's in the little shopping center. They got Rouse's and then Go Slim and then like some kind of Vietnamese tea place and then the hibachi place on the end, Tokyo Cafe. Yeah. So it's primarily a protein-based diet, not unlike Ideal Protein. A lot more bars and shakes. And then you got one meal per day where they call it lean and green, where you'll have a lean protein meat and green vegetables.
Right. And those are your making.
Yeah.
That's your. Okay.
Yeah. But like, I haven't flipped my life upside down for this thing, and I'm still losing a little bit every week. Like, I'm losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, which I know I would love to be doing more than that, but yes. So this is my second time through the program. I did it like 8 years ago, and I lost 75 pounds. Oh, watch this. Wait.
I need to get my son on this.
Here's. I'm not showing you this to brag, but your jaw is gonna drop.
Plus you feel better, don't you? You sleep better.
My 20th anniversary was Wednesday, so
It goes quick, doesn't it?
yeah, we went to Rufino's. I had a steak. We had creme brulee for dessert. We drank a bottle of wine. Like, I didn't hold, like, it's not like the diet affected that, right? Yeah. So I lost 75 pounds about 8 years ago. I put half of it back on after the flood.
Sure.
We have a 2-story house. We were living upstairs. We didn't have a kitchen, so everything was fast food every friggin' night. The gym flooded out, so I wasn't working out. And, like, anyway,
Everything was against
now I've taken it back off again.
Yeah.
So, but just to show you what I looked like before.
Wow.
I know.
75
I know.
pounds.
Yeah, I looked like Peter Griffin and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man had a baby, and left it in the woods.
Sugary berries.
Exactly. So,
That's amazing.
thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all are doing well around here.
Do what?
Y'all are doing well around here.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Plugging along.
There's tons to talk about every single day.
I'm telling you, I'm doing my level best not to fall into that rut where it's because there's so much pandemic still, but how much like none of it's new. It's the same shit, different day. So how do I classify that as news versus And then now we're getting there with Hurricane Ida too.
Oh yeah. I don't know. We can talk about this one. We can talk about debris pickup because that's what we're hearing about in our offices.
Okay, let's start there then.
We can talk a little bit about
Well, I was going to talk about I wanted to talk about the moratorium on developments.
annexations for Wednesday night. That was
I wanted to talk about that, but yeah, it's still such a weird topic because they want to be annexed, but they don't. Like,
the neighborhood.
yeah, like wants to be annexed if there becomes a city of St. George. The way the Advocate reported on it, it made it sound like,
Oh.
yeah,
No. They 110% want to annex into the city of Baton Rouge, and I think maybe it's 30 days after we voted last night. They technically are.
uh-huh.
I was.
And they're not contiguous.
Well, they are contiguous. They're not adjoining and compact.
Okay.
So, plan of government says adjoining and compact. State statute says contiguous. I say those properties are temporarily held in a proposed incorporation by the petition that is before the court now, and we don't have jurisdiction. But I was the lone voice on the wilderness. We thought that, but I spent a lot of time reading the statutes and the plan of government, and really, I spent a lot of time, and that was the only conclusion I could reasonably come to, is that we literally don't have jurisdiction in this county.
Which seems odd because then who would?
And all the all the lawyers in Livingston know wrong.
We're gonna get to a point where we figure out.
Until the lawsuit's over, nobody. But
Interesting.
I'm literally, but once again, Brian, I'm literally the only person in the room who doesn't, and I don't have a lot of you who made that argument, but I'm going to read the statutes. It's a process outlined by the statutes.
Yeah.
Bringing all that process.
We're gonna figure out one day that a city parish form of government was a bad idea. You can be one thing or be the other, but who is gonna take it on to rewrite the whole damn thing?
I don't know, but I've heard more talk about that in the last couple of weeks than.
I want to have that conversation at some point. Not today, but. Huh? What? Mooyah first. Yeah. 806, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. We've got Councilwoman Laurie White Adams coming up in our next segment. Going to talk to Patrick Coogan about Tiger Air before we get out of here this morning. We are going to get you to this day in history in just a minute. But first, what are you doing for lunch today? Can I interest you in a burger? Can I suggest Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes? They've got 2 locations. They're on Coogan, just north of Industrialplex. They are on Bluebonnet at Highland Road. The best burgers in town. The best fries. The best shakes. Hands down. Real ice cream milkshakes. If you have not yet been by this month, and what are we on, the 24th? So you still got time. The Texas Pecan Shake is cracking a cup. Your eyes will roll back in your head like a shark just bit into a surfer. It is ridiculously good. Over the top. The burgers, you get the fresh cut vegetables, the fresh baked buns, the certified Angus beef, made to your liking as well. And, oh, by the way, if you don't see one on the menu that's to your liking, build your own. That option is there. Oh, by the way, if you're cutting out the carbs, lose the bun, go with the iceberg lettuce. Oh, by the way, if you're rolling that vegan lifestyle, and I can't talk you out of it, they've got that black bean Impossible Burger as well. They're here for you. They got what you need. I like the Diablo myself. Used to be a double Diablo guy before the weight loss. Now it's just Diablo. Still go for those sweet potato fries dipped in honey, though. You want to talk about mixing the spicy with the sweet? Get your double Diablo burger and the sweet potato fries, dip them in honey. Phenomenal combination. Or go with whatever combination you like at either location of Mooyah. Coogan, just north of Industrialplex, or Bluebonnet at Highland Road. For Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes. All right, now's the time of the show where Jake takes us back in time. It's This Day in History.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to start things off in 1493. Christopher Columbus embarks on his second expedition to the New World, setting sail with a fleet of 17 ships.
Sequel's never as good as the original. 17 ships?
Yeah.
How does that, I mean, what? All right, whatever.
I mean, we could talk about it off air, but I think there's some...
That's excessive. It's excessive.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
You don't need 17 ships going anywhere.
It's a bit much. But we're going all the way to 1789 to go for the next one. The U.S. Attorney General Office is created.
I feel bad for the captain of the 18th ship when Columbus is like, no, sorry.
Still on this.
That would be ostentatious.
Yeah, no, that's a little much. That's a little too
18? No, we cut it off at 17. The max the ocean can handle.
Well, we're going to swiftly move on to 1934. Bit of sports news for everybody. 2,500 fans see Babe Ruth's farewell Yankee appearance at Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
I was surprised, only 2,500. I think of stadium attendance now, and we're in 10 times that, and that's still considered a small crowd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's Babe Ruth. Big fat alcoholic, hitting home runs.
The Sultan of SWAT.
Yeah. Sultan of Scotch.
The Colossus of Cloud. Keyword Colossus. Anyways, 1952, American fast food restaurant chain KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken for those who are under a rock, opens its first franchise in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Surprised?
Yeah,
that Kentucky Fried Chicken would be in Salt Lake City, Utah?
When I read that, I felt betrayed.
It's a little weird. Now, I was actually listening to First Light on the way in this morning, and they had audio from Colonel Sanders, from Harlan Sanders, and he was talking about how he was frying some chicken up for some friends, and he decided to change up his recipe. And he was like bragging on it. I had 10 herbs and spices. 10 herbs and spices. I added an 11th, and I was like, that's the best darn chicken I ever ate.
All right.
I don't know why Harlan Sanders sounds like Eddie Risponi, but...
Hey, it was kind of close, though.
Finger licking good.
1968, 60 Minutes premieres on CBS TV.
The 11th one, man. You can't go 10.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Sorry.
1979, Pete Rose reaches 200 hits in a season for the 10th time.
Good for him.
1991, rock band Nirvana released their second studio album, Nevermind.
Follow up on Pete Rose.
Let's hear it.
Neither Pete nor Rose is an existing storm right now, but Sam is in the Atlantic.
That's not the right segment.
Sorry.
2007, The Big Bang Theory premieres on CBS. And that will conclude the events that I have. We'll get right to the birthdays. First off, real quick, Brian, are you a wrestling fan? Were you a wrestling fan?
When I was a child, sure.
Well, you know who the McMahon family are, right?
Yes. Yeah, Vince McMahon.
Well, his daughter Stephanie McMahon
Of the
turns
XFL?
45 today.
Oh,
yes,
fantastic.
the XFL, the very, never mind, not very successful brand of football.
They're coming back.
Yes, Stephanie McMahon turns 45. Happy birthday to her. Kevin Sorbo turns 63 today.
What?
I don't know who that is. You're
wait.
older than me, so
Was
I
he like a
don't know.
Superman or a
Hercules.
Tarzan or a?
Hercules? I'm pretty sure.
Was he Hercules or
Yes.
Tarzan?
Hercules. He may have been Tarzan.
All right. Either way.
Jackie Sandler turns 47 today.
Who?
Well, Adam Sandler's wife.
Oh.
She was in a couple of movies with him. I think.
Adam Sandler's married?
Come on, man. You seen his shorts?
I don't look at his shorts.
Anyone would be lucky with
Wait,
those
why am I
green, like, whack-looking shorts. Dude makes hundreds of millions, and he looks like he goes to Walmart, and I love it.
I see where your priorities are.
Hey, nothing but respect for the man. F. Scott Fitzgerald was born on this day.
Whoa. What did Scott Fitzgerald ever do to you?
I'm so sorry, Scott. I did not mean that. But you
Sorry,
were
that's
born,
from Ted too. My bad.
But he was born on this day in 1896. If you don't know, author of Great Gatsby, very good movie, very good book. I mean, we'll talk about the book first. But
Yeah, I love the fact that you lead with the movie.
I was gonna say book, and then my brain was like
Friggin' Gen
Leo
Z.
DiCaprio, and well, my brain went on autopilot from there. But that'll conclude the birthdays. We're gonna
No,
go
it
to.
won't.
No, well, just kidding.
How
What you
about
got
Mean
for
Joe
me?
Green?
Mean Joe Green.
Yeah, how about Mean Joe Green, born on this day in 1946? How about former Heisman winner Eddie George, born on this day in 1973? Rafael Palmeiro, former, they have him as a Rangers and Orioles first baseman. I think he's more known for the steroids. And, of course, I like to keep it local. Happy birthday to LeBrandon Tofield.
Very nice.
Former
Happy
LSU running
birthday to
back.
all those mentioned. Only one death to report on, but I think everybody knows who this is. Dr. Seuss passed on this day in 1991.
Dadgummit. Mm-hmm. And the world's just going to hell since.
Agreed. Holidays. German Sandwich Day.
Okay.
Hug a Vegetarian Day.
Nope. But you get your black bean burger over at Mooyah.
National Punctuation Day. I'll have you know I wrote all that in lowercase.
Okay.
World's Biggest Coffee Morning. Not even the day, just the morning.
Sure.
And Native American Day.
All right.
That'll conclude this day in history.
Appreciate it as always. We are due up for a break. After we take that break, when we come back on the back end, we're going to be talking about Metro Council business, all things Metro Council. It's been a minute since we've caught up with Laurie White Adams, and she joins us next. Before we take that break, though, got to ask you if you've downloaded the Matherns app yet. They've got two locations. They are on 3rd Street downtown or the corner of Nicholson and Skip Burtman Drive. Both of them are full-service grocery stores. I know, on campus you might think it's for students only. Not the case. I know they got the apartments right nearby. Not the case. It's open up to everybody. And if your commute takes you up Nicholson in the afternoon, like let's say you work downtown, you're heading out to Riverbend, just as a possibility, hit up the Matherns app, do all your grocery shopping, pull in the parking lot, they bring it out to you. You don't even have to put on the mask. You don't have to get out of your car. You can keep listening to Jay Cody the whole time. Get your grocery shopping done before you leave work with the Matherns app. Also, we're coming up on the weekend. It's time to stock up on the craft beer before you take on your weekend activities, before you, I don't want to say crack open beers at dawn tomorrow to pregame for LSU, but that's pretty much what we're going to be doing, right?
Yes.
Fantastic craft beer selection at both locations of Matherns, downtown on 3rd or Nicholson at Skip Urban Drive, right across the street from Tiger Stadium. It's Matherns Supermarket. Oh, my God. Yep. Close it out so I can keep an eye on my text. Don't know when my next guest is getting here, or if he's gonna be on the phone.
Oh, wow, got it.
I thought
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
coming in, but I'm not sure. So,
More fun to come in for sure. If
yeah,
you make it happen.
yeah. It's always a bit. In person's always a better conversation.
Always.
That's
Always.
817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Time to talk a little Metro Council business and welcome in Laurie White Adams. Laurie, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you.
It's been a minute. I
Yes.
catch myself every so often. I'm like, I haven't talked Metro Council in forever. And y'all have so much going on right now.
So much. I keep saying being on Metro Council is like living life in dog years. Each year is about 7.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it like that, but you're right.
It's true.
It's because there's so much on the agenda, and then real life gets in the way as well.
Absolutely.
You think you know where you're going, and then Hurricane Ida hits like
True.
there's.
Our third event of the year, the freeze, the flood, and now Ida.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yes, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, by the time I finish, we're expecting one, I guess, in the fourth quarter, right? We've had one every other quarter.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
It's
Balance out
let's
the year.
hope not, but
No, I don't
you
want
know.
one. I don't want
Well,
one.
I mean, we've still got another couple months in hurricane season, so
We do. We do. I know.
yeah, frustrating to even think about. But let's roll with Ida for just a minute because
Sure.
debris pickup's going on right now. I've talked with Calvin Hill a couple times about this. It seems like we're on schedule, if not slightly ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
How are things in your district as far as debris pickup's concerned?
It's going okay. I mean, people, anytime you have a big pile of debris sitting in your yard, all you can think, for weeks on end, all you can think is the grass is burning, the grass is burning, the grass is burning, right?
Yeah.
So, but so far, it looks like it's going well. I know people are a little bit frustrated because we've really, just struggled with debris, almost the whole year because the freeze was intense and created a tremendous amount of debris.
Yep.
And then the flood, some of these neighborhoods have been through 3 things.
How much of your district got hit by the flood?
A lot.
Because it was the flood was kind of all over the place, and it was in a number of places that didn't get hit in 2016, which
Right.
was the weird part.
That's correct. That's correct. But my district, District 11, got hit particularly hard by the flood. So we have a lot of neighborhoods that are literally in rebuilding. They had construction, in their yard, and then Ida hit and just put leaves and stuff on top of their construction and limbs on top of their construction debris.
District 11 laid out a little wonky, so you're more likely to get hit by more of the hurricane. Was that the case? Was that the way it played out?
It really didn't. No. We
Wow,
had we did have some roofs damage. We did have a lot of trees and limbs and a lot of debris. But from what I'm being told, I think District Councilman Cleve Dunn's district got hit the worst because it's more to the eastern side, and so he has substantial debris now
right.
that they're dealing with. So I think we're doing a good job of trying to get the debris picked up. Heard from Rick Spear on Wednesday night. He said the nearest event to this would have been Gustav, and it took us a year to pick up the debris with Gustav, and we're planning to have all this debris picked up by the end of the year. So they've got 2 different contractors in, one north, one south. And they're working, my understanding, 6 days or 7 days a week. I think it's 7 days a week.
I think it is
to get
7.
it all
Yeah,
picked up.
well, because as of right now, the feds are picking up the full tab
Right.
for the first 30 days. After that, it scales back to a 75-25 split.
That's right.
And if I understand it correctly, we're on a 12-week plan.
Yes.
And
right,
so-
correct. And so we did hear on Wednesday night that the contractors are bringing in additional trucks. So, we have substantial manpower here. And when I saw them come down my street, they were booking it. I mean, they were going pretty quickly. So,
And I keep getting stuck with how can we continue to help? How can we help expedite the process?
Right.
I look at look up the road. I live in Sherwood. Okay, I'm in Aaron Moak's district.
Yes.
So I look up the road and I've got a little pile of debris, and my neighbor's got a little pile of debris, and the neighbor next door has a little pile of debris, and then one more house. I'm like, would it help if we all piled our stuff together?
It would.
And then the truck's only going to make one stop because that scoop's going to pick it up all in one.
It would, and I think some of our smaller, real small gated communities have done efforts like that. So one of the things the contractor is doing, they have bobcats, and in some areas they are using the smaller bobcat, gathering everything into one area, and then bringing the big truck in to gather it there.
See.
So there is some of that efficiencies being gained.
Well, and I couldn't get the mayor's sign off on this or endorsement of it, but I'm still in favor of bringing all the debris together and having a neighborhood bonfire. But nobody else wants to sign off on this, and I can't
It would
for the
be
life
so
of me.
much fun.
Wouldn't it though?
Yeah, great community builder.
Cooler weather now and
Absolutely.
everything. Just everybody, come on out. We'll make s'mores.
Brian, I can't disagree. I think
I
maybe I'll
mean-
put a resolution before the Metro Council.
If everybody can walk up and down Government Street for White Light Night, then I can have a bonfire in Sherwood.
Well, if you do, invite me.
You're in. Absolutely, bring it. Absolutely.
I want to come.
So there's real business to tend to as well, and that is actually there's business being put on hold as well. That's is moratorium the right word for development and construction, or is it more like stricter guidelines, but you could still get in?
Well, it's argued both ways.
'Kay.
So it was definitely presented as a moratorium with kind of a way to work around. If you were willing to use the 100-year storm standards, build to higher standards, and increase your retention detention, then you're able to build or put in a proposal during this next year.
'Kay.
So what we're going to see, what we have seen, is what when I went to read about moratoriums, all the warnings about moratoriums is that that you see a flurry of projects
Yes.
come in under the wire, and so now those projects are in, and then it's incumbent on us to take a harder look, both the Planning Commission and for the Metro Council, to take a harder look at those projects and make sure they were not hastily submitted, make sure that that they're not going to cause problems. So you're right; it's going to be intense for the next few weeks as we take a look at those projects to make sure, and then be moving forward over the next year, all those projects in the special hazard zone will, if you're going to do something, it's got to be to the 100-year floodplain.
How much of that hazard zone's in your district?
That's a great question. I have some. I definitely have
Yeah.
some.
Well,
not the lion's share of it, but I have a good piece. I have not figured out what percentage.
So I had Rowdy Goday on when he was proposing this, and it came out unanimous. So I don't need to ask you how you
Sure.
voted.
Yeah.
But the fact that you could still say yes with restrictions, and when I hear moratorium, I hear a blanket no. This is
Right.
not a blanket no. This is not that. So I don't
Right.
know that calling it a moratorium is the right thing.
Yeah, that argument has definitely been made. The way it was written, it kept us out of court. So I think you've seen the other moratoriums that were stricter lawsuits have been filed. So it was a way for us to maybe not get the whole way that a lot of people, the whole place that a lot of people wanted us to get, but I think we got to a wise and workable place.
You hit kind of a magic phrase right there, kept us out of court, because you're talking about a world where you're telling individual landowners, potential developers,
right.
what they can and cannot do with their property
Right.
on a scale that changes the game in the second quarter. Like you
Absolutely.
can't change the
That's
rules to a
correct.
game once the game is started. So
That is correct.
like how was that process handled to know that you were, was this handled more from a legal aspect or from a grassroots, like let's talk to the people and see what their plans are?
I think both. I think grassroots, we heard from people who had flooded 2, 3, times.
Yeah.
That we needed to do something, that what we had in place right now was not working.
Right.
So that was what was grassroots. And so you're taking all that information, and then you're also consulting with legal experts to get guidance on, where's the wise place. Just signing ourselves up for lawsuits, that you get a restraining order and you can't do anything. That isn't necessarily the wise place. So I know it wasn't exactly what the people wanted, but it's we got maybe halfway, 75% there.
Well, that's the sign of a good compromise.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
so when you talk to the people, it's on the one hand you've got the people who flooded. They're going to be no. They're going to be shut it
Right,
down.
right.
What about the people who are making investments in Baton Rouge to grow things? Because that side of the
Absolutely.
equation can't be ignored.
Sure, and you could literally, with a moratorium, you could ruin somebody's property value overnight.
Right.
And that's not always big, wealthy landowners.
No.
Sometimes that's people of very humble means who they've inherited this, and this is a significant portion of their personal worth.
Right. Right. It might be the next big land developer before they're the next big land developer. This is their first go at it, that sort of thing. But
Right,
it's just
absolutely.
when you have a
lot of
city
things.
parish the size of East Baton Rouge,
Yes.
you can't treat yourself like you're St. Helena.
Right. It's a lot. You have a lot of things. It's just constantly balancing competing interests and trying to come to the wise place.
So everything I was able to garner about the quote-unquote moratorium is that this is not a finished product and probably never will be. Is that accurate?
Oh, just the codes,
Yeah.
building codes, right? Absolutely, no. So we've got great data, and we're going to get more great data from the stormwater plan, and so we're going to be able to use all of the data that's been collected over the last 18 months, and really it'll be probably more, almost 2 years now, to make changes to the Uniform Development Code, to make sure that moving forward we're not increasing flooding,
Right.
And really correcting some of the mistakes of the past.
What's being done about correcting the mistakes of the past? Regardless of development, what's being done on that front?
Absolutely. So, the rescue dollars have gone into a lot of the deferred maintenance, cleaning the storm drains, which
Yeah.
I've talked to a number of people about, which I've heard is going to make a significant difference. Right now, we're waiting on permits from the Corps of Engineers to do the cleaning and snagging of the bayous that have been identified as being problematic. And I hear from residents really just about every day about the waterways that they're close to that have not been cleaned in decades. So looking forward to that. Also, I'm going to be requesting an update from the Corps of Engineers and Fred Rayford on the 5 Bayous project. I hear about that from neighbors, residents in District 11 all the time. They know that the 5 Bayous project was proposed in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And here we are. We are really almost at 30 years since the project was first talked about. So, I understand when residents contact me and are frustrated. I'm frustrated too.
Yeah. Boy, if that isn't the MO of Baton Rouge in a nutshell right there.
Well,
First conceived in the 90s and then finally starting to come to fruition today.
And I would tell you, it's not just Baton Rouge. You see projects like this take decades to unfold across the country.
Sure.
But it is frustrating. It is frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll see Baton Rouge because we live in Baton Rouge.
That's
So
right. Of course.
That's,
But these things get held up all over. But that doesn't mean that we, just ignore them. We need to keep pushing.
Right.
This has to happen.
We got about 2 minutes left. I've got to ask you about annexations because
Sure.
it's been a hot topic in the news. It's been a hot topic since the folks in St. George decided that they would govern themselves better
Right.
than the service they were already getting. Well,
Right.
it actually started with they decided they wanted better schools for their children. But that's
Sure.
not to rehash all of it. Let's
Yeah.
bring us back to where we are right now. There's a pending lawsuit. There are folks that want out of the idea of St. George and into Baton Rouge. And a number of annexations went through Wednesday night.
They did. We had 3 annexations go through Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
The property that H&E sits on, owned by Mr. Inquist, Women's Hospital in the Matera development that is right next to that,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had residents in Willow Ridge subdivision, which of course is right in the middle of my district. Have lots of friends who live in that subdivision. 12 of those 40 home sites wanted to annex into Baton Rouge.
How does
So we
that
heard
work
those.
where you can annex a quarter of a subdivision?
So a lot of people had that question. The statutes, if you follow the statutes, you can, contiguous properties can be annexed. I don't know that the statutes really ever anticipated anything like this happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine.
When I read both the Louisiana statutes and then the plan of government says properties must be adjoining and compact. I didn't think this was compact.
Okay.
To be able to just take in one little residence here, one little residence there.
Right.
But so that the argument could be made that it wasn't compact. But overall, I've told you I think I was the lone voice in the wilderness other than Dwight Hudson. But I really saw it very differently.
Yeah.
That the petition that was filed by the incorporators of St. George is still in force. So that petition was certified by the registrar of voters, went to the governor, was found in compliance, placed on the ballot, and then that petition, literally at the 30-day mark after the election, is what is filed with the court
Right.
to bring about the incorporation. So I felt that those properties were held within that legal entity that's the petition, and that we didn't have jurisdiction at this time to annex anything that is in that petition. So
Yeah, it's what's overlooked in that is if 12 wanted in, then 28 still wanted to stay on the path to
That's
St.
right.
George,
and
that's
they are. They are.
Yeah.
But we made a checkerboard of a neighborhood. Is it legal? I think it probably technically is legal. Is it good public policy? I don't think it's good public policy.
Yeah,
So
but it's where we are right now, and odds
right.
are it'll all pan out later on as well.
That's right.
In the meanwhile, I greatly appreciate the update. I will do a better job of calling you more frequently.
I'd love to come.
Absolutely.
to
Love
be
having you on. Laurie White Adams, Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. Thank you so much for the time. We are coming up on 8:32 at Talk 107.3 FM. We're going to check our local news, traffic, weather. When we come back, Patrick Coogan joins us next to talk Tiger Air here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk.
District, the Metro Council.
Holy shit.
And we've had significant change in populations in some of the districts, more population down south. Now, racially, 47-47, white and black.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. A lot, just a heads up.
Very, very much so. Good. You need to be redistricted because I've been making the joke for years. Your district runs from Opelousas to Havana. So,
It kind of does. I
but
think my district would get more compact
one would hope so.
because so many people have moved into my area.
I'm trying logistically to figure out how Cleve Dunn's district got hurricane. I would my money would have been on Dwight Hudson and Aaron Moak.
Yeah.
That.
When I talked to Cleve Dunn Wednesday night, and he said, in talking with DPW and Environmental Services, his area really has a lot of debris. But a lot of older subdivisions, a lot of big trees.
Yeah.
And then being to the east.
Yeah, and you don't know where the straight winds are going to hit. Hey, Jake, can you kill the mics for 1 second? Do what? Come get Patrick Coogan's number from me. 838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to hook up with Patrick Coogan here in just a minute. Talk a little bit about. Oh, he just walked in. All right, thought this was going to be on the phone. This is my lucky day. I got in studio guests back to back here. This is awesome. Well, it's time for us to talk a little bit about Tiger Air. Actually, it will be in just a minute. I do have to tell you about the folks over at. Which one did I miss? I know I missed one. Oh, Go Slim Nutrition. I'll be over there at 10 o'clock this morning for my weigh-in. I already know I'm down 1.2 pounds for this week, and that's with having the anniversary dinner with the wife on Wednesday night. Down 1.2 pounds this week. And look, you can get diet food pretty much anywhere. With Go Slim, it's about the accountability. With Go Slim, it's about that weekly weigh-in. I call it food confession. You sit down, you talk about what you've done right, what you've done wrong. You talk about how you could do better. You talk about how to fit the program in with your lifestyle so that you can make better lifestyle choices, not just have a diet. The food's good, too. If you'd like to try it out, I'll be there at 10 o'clock this morning. Come on by, try a bar, try a shake. Meet Vicky, meet her team. You'll realize just how wonderful they are. They're on Bluebonnet right next to Rouse's. Bluebonnet at Perkins. They're right next to Rouse's. 763-9627 if you want to give them a call ahead of time, or just swing on by. Try them out. Try some free samples. You'll get to know the food real quick and then realize you could be on the path to adopting healthier lifestyle choices, maybe knocking off a few pounds along the way with Go Slim Nutrition. All right, time to welcome in Patrick Coogan. We're talking Tiger Air, and you have brought props, sir.
I did. We got two of our products here, our flagship products, one in the football helmet and then one in an industrial hard hat.
Okay, so I want to pause for just a second. Welcome. How you been? I hadn't seen you in forever.
Good. Yeah, it's been a little bit. I've
It
a
has.
little bit out of breath. Lady Jag wasn't at the front desk, so I was yanking on doors and then sprinted up the stairs to get here on time.
Just shoot me a text. Come on down. We're all good. So, how did you get hooked up with this company?
Well, I was made. The introduction was made to the founder Jack Karavich through a mutual friend of ours, Greg Stringfellow, who's the head football equipment manager out at LSU. And he introduced Jack and I, and we hit it off right away and started talking about the product and what he had currently, which was just the football model. And I spoke with him and told him that I thought it was a great idea if we would to move into the construction area in the hard hats. And so he agreed that that was a good idea, and we struck up a partnership, and I've been an investor ever since.
I always like following the idea of what piques someone's interest to dive in. And what was it about this particular product that got you on board?
The newness of it, the uniqueness of it. No one had done this. I don't know why. Maybe people have tried and couldn't get through some of the testing that you have to go through to be able to put it in a helmet. There's a lot of restrictions and insurances and rules that you have to adhere to, and so maybe people came across that and weren't able to meet the rules of the game. But it was just the uniqueness and I think, quite frankly, the need of it. I mean, if you think about people that we all know that work in a plant or work on a construction
the growth
site.
end of it. I read the story thinking just about football helmets. When I started reading about the potential growth aspect of it with the hard hats, with the plants, would firemen be involved in that equation at some point? Maybe. You can't
Possibly.
circulate air within their helmet, though.
Yeah, it's a little difficult because they have fire retardant fabric up on the
Right.
top, which
Yeah.
kind of restricts airflow. So it's a challenge. We've looked at it. We've looked at almost every type of helmet. We will move into military helmets, the ballistic helmets.
Okay. Yeah.
We're actively doing that currently. And there's some other applications that we shoot. We've got an email just this week about a guy begging us to do some for motorcycle helmets, and I thought, well, that's kind of strange. You're riding a motorcycle, you've got wind coming.
Not in Baton Rouge traffic,
Yeah, maybe that's the where this came from. But if you think about it, every motorcycle helmet you see is black, and
Yeah.
so
will
I guess
attract heat.
Naturally, it's gonna be hot in the
Yeah.
cavity of that helmet, and so maybe that was the thought process behind that guy reaching out.
Well, not to mention, you sell any gadget to a motorcycle guy and they're buying.
Uh,
They're in for the accoutrements.
yeah, that's
as
right.
it were. So,
Yeah.
all right, we've got an LSU helmet on the desk here. Where are y'all already being applied? Is LSU on board here? Or is this
Yeah.
just a template?
Yeah, LSU is absolutely. You watch an LSU game, you see our product every Saturday. Now you won't tell that it's in there because it's hidden pretty good. I could show
Well,
you,
I flipped it upside down to look at it.
and you really can't see.
Yeah.
But if you look closer,
It just looks like a normal helmet, except for
Yeah.
that little red button right
yeah,
there.
Here's the on-off switches,
Mm-hmm.
and then the blowers actually sit. And if you see through these holes in the helmet, the blowers are right there, and there's a piece of tubing, and this is where the air comes out. If you see right here by the face mask,
Yeah,
and it
and it
blows-
kicks up. It blows up from
It blows
up towards the top of the head
into
or toward the face.
and then
Okay.
pushes up.
All right,
That's
very
correct.
cool stuff. Now, is LSU the only place so far, or have y'all?
Texas A&M, Auburn, Alabama, Clemson is using it. Georgia's using it some. LSU fans, don't be worried. We sent A&M only all left-sided, and
I like
they
it.
still hadn't figured it out yet. So. But
No
apparently
doubt.
it's working for them because they're pretty good this
Can I
year.
try this on?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
this on.
turn it on first.
Okay.
For you, just hit the red buttons.
Oh, you get two
there.
buttons.
Yep, one for each side.
All right, and then I guess I should take my glasses off before I knock them off with this.
Hopefully it's charged and you're feeling the airflow.
I actually do feel the air flowing
Yeah.
through. So, and yeah, it is really nice and cool. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not out in the heat right now. We're not in the heat of two-a-days, which is where I
That's-
guess
Yeah.
the necessity is the mother of invention. The two-a-days in August would have been
Yeah,
the
so
necessity
So
behind
spring
the invention.
practice, summer workouts, and then early in the season is where you'll see it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it'll be removed from helmets, in the cooler months. Or maybe they won't remove it; they just probably won't turn it on.
Right. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So you said necessity is the mother of invention. That couldn't be truer in our case. The way this came about is last year, if you remember, college football was trying to return amidst COVID, right?
Yeah.
And so the SEC wanted to play, and one of the options that they were going to mandate was instead of this traditional visor that you see, they were going to make them wear a visor that covers the entire face, the face mask.
Oh,
Essentially.
goodness gracious.
So you
Which
can
would trap
imagine-
in more hot air.
That's right. And so LSU was testing that out, and of course, within 2 plays, the guys, I can't see, it's fogging up. And
Yeah.
So they were trying to figure, they have towels and rubbing it off, and of course,
Windshield wipers.
yeah. The towel was a lesson in futility, if you will. So my partner Jack Karavich found out about this with no real relations to LSU at this point, and came up with this idea. Except at this point, the air was blowing out to be an anti
defroster. Yeah.
exactly for the shields. And so of course LSU's on board. Coach O loved it. Jack Marucci loved it. Greg Stringfeld loved it. Instantly wanted Jack to make them as many as he possibly could at that point. So he began that process, and then of course the SEC and the NCAA says, "Oh, just kidding. We're not going to make you do that." And so one of these helmets with it installed kind of sat idly on Jack Marucci's desk for a few weeks, and he's a big tinker. And so what he did was he actually took the nozzles and turned them 180 degrees, just messing around with it, and boom, he figured out on his own that it would work as an air conditioning unit, essentially.
I mean, it's like super embedded in the padding. You really have to look to find it.
Yeah, I mean the neat thing about the design of football helmets is those pads are removable, and so it's easy to hide the product in there, which works out great for safety reasons. The product itself is small enough to be able to do it, and we'll get smaller. And both of these versions are almost prototypes, if you will. Our next generation of product that's coming out, these will be self-contained with the batteries in the one unit, so they'll even be smaller and more powerful going forward.
How broad can you go in football? And actually, we got 2 minutes left in this segment. Can you hang out for the last segment as well?
Sure,
Just a couple
sure.
more. We'll keep you until 9.
Yeah.
mass produced can this be? How broad can this go? Will this make it to high school helmets?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Broadly, we essentially at this point we'll be able to produce as many as we want.
Fantastic.
Currently we are producing them via 3D printers here, right here in Baton Rouge.
Cool.
In the Innovation Park at LSU, which is neat. It's a really neat facility, but it's not very efficient, right? So these 3D printers, while they produce a good product, takes a long time to do it, and a lot of assembly goes into it. So we're going into mass manufacturing as we speak, and so we'll be able to pump them out a lot more rapidly going forward.
I mean, as you know, you think about it on the high school scale, and the number of times that a season doesn't begin until something tragic happens.
Yeah.
This could be something that it literally saves a life. I mean, a matter of convenience to keep the face guard clear is one thing, but reducing heat stroke, that sort of thing. And I don't know if y'all could put anything medical statistically behind it, but just as I put that on, I'm thinking that's a game changer.
Yeah, there are a lot of statistics behind it.
Okay.
And we got a lot of help early on from Jack Marucci, who loves the sports science side of things. And so we have a lot of those studies, and it is dramatic how much the cooling of the head can affect not just heat-related injuries. Well, heat-related injuries, but how heat-related injuries are caused, not just to the neurological
The mental
system.
fatigue causing other things.
Yes, absolutely.
We got to pause here. We're going to check your money now. We're going to check traffic. Come back. I want to talk about the industrial. Patrick Coogan's in studio. We're talking Tiger Air. Continuing next. So this idea.
So this is the prototype, right? Like I was saying, it's print, so it's much bigger than it will be, and that's hard to see. Because these are commoditized batteries.
Mm-hmm.
So we designed around just basically two batteries you can buy off the shelf.
Okay.
But the concept and
By the way, we are still on YouTube, so even during the breaks.
the experience you'll get with this model
Mm-hmm.
will be similar to the one that is for retail sale.
Okay.
So, and this wire and button won't exist anymore. That's why it just kind of dangles.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just.
You'll feel this.
Well,
10
so this
times
isn't
more.
built like a football helmet where you can hide it within. This is.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally on the top.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it uses the shape of the helmet.
I
It's called
feel
the
it.
tornado. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it circulating around. Definitely. Definitely. See, and I got my fresh haircut, so I feel it all the way down to the scalp.
There you go.
That is so
I don't
cool.
even need a haircut to get that feeling.
So it's
Stay on.
Yeah, always. So the when I kept reading on about it, and I was like, I was hooked when it was just football helmets.
Yeah.
But that's going to be
Well, we can
up
talk,
and
we can
down the
talk about it
river
on air.
everywhere.
Absolutely. We can talk about it on air, but this right here, the
Mm-hmm.
addressable market for it worldwide
Yeah.
is 5 million. That's this age to NFL, right?
Yeah.
Very finite. This is close to 400 million worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah. So, think about it.
Is it expensive?
Nah, not much.
I mean,
$100.
it's one of the, and I'm going to say this on there when we come back in, but it's one of those ones that's so simple, you get mad that it wasn't invented before.
Yeah. Well, there is, we've had to jump through a lot of hoops, which is why it's not in high school right now, because everyone, all the state, like the LHSA, defaults to the National High School Federation. So basically, once we get the national, then they'll say, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. And we're meeting with them later this month, and we've already had preliminary talks. We think we'll just be able to ink it. But there's a, if you read the fine print of this stuff, and actually this one's this stamp on it.
Okay,
It's called Noxie and ANSI. So Noxie is the
NOCSAE?
yeah. They test all the helmets and verify whether it works or not. So we had to go through the ANSI and Noxie testing to be able to put it in these helmets, which is not cheap to do.
All right, so switch here. Fan is physical. Motor's back here.
Switch attaches to a rechargeable battery.
Battery goes to motor.
Blower fan.
Blower, yeah.
And there's tubing, little clear plastic tubing that connects to this nozzle.
And it comes out on the front.
Mm-hmm.
But why was that feeling it on the top as well?
It's just the way the.
Just the way it circulates?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if there's like one that was missing or something.
No, you get.
Because I see it on both sides.
It'll-
It's symmetrical.
It'll blow out of the blower too, even though it's directional through that tubing. You'll still get some ambient air through the blower on top.
Somewhere on some high school campus, you just bought a kid more wind sprints because they're not worn out yet.
Yeah, Catholic High is actually test piloted for us last year.
Oh, I bet. That's
But
nice
they
to
can't-
have. Nice to have that kind of experimental grounds right there.
Yeah, but they can't use it in games yet.
Yeah.
So. I mean, no one's going to check for it, but
Well, no.
Catholic
Why
High's-
would they? But
yeah, but Catholic High's not taking any chances in the environment that they've been in lately, so they're not using it.
oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, we're finally in that world now. My oldest is at SJA.
Oh, okay.
We're picking her up from the game tonight, in fact. So, still not ready.
Is she a volleyball player?
No, basketball.
Basketball.
Well,
Will she play in high school?
probably.
Try it, yeah.
Yeah, she's so.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay, good.
Possibly basketball. We're hoping. I'm trying not to get overexcited about it.
My niece plays volleyball over there. That's what I was asking.
What grade?
The one that plays volleyball is a junior this year.
Okay. Volleyball's a beast over at SJA.
They're good.
None of the Mercy girls made the team this year.
Oh, really?
None of them. And they had like 8 of them try out. Every last one of them got cut. I'm not used to the environment of cut downs yet. I'm used to the environment of trying to grow the love of the game, and it costs you nothing to have them type of thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to play,
Yeah.
but yeah. But yeah, that volleyball team. And the Carrie got cut from cross country as well. That was just brutal.
Oh, jeez.
.856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Couple more minutes to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane before we hand off to the Fox News rundown and then the Brian Kilmeade show. I got Patrick Coogan in studio. We're talking about Tiger Air. Patrick, in our last segment, the focus was more on the football helmet, but you've got a work helmet there as well, and it just feels like this is opening up all kinds of new worlds because of it.
Yeah, if you think about the environments that the gentlemen and the ladies work in, just in the open air, and forget about the equipment for a second. I mean, just think about you on the weekend mowing your grass or working in your garden, how hot it gets.
Yeah.
Then amplify that with all the heavy equipment that's out there producing heat of its own.
Yeah.
That those guys they face some extreme conditions, and so there's cooling tents, there's cooling breaks. They're always having to be hydrated. Mandatory almost a timeout, if you will. Go sit down, cool off.
Right.
And this is just another layer on top of that for safety. Number one. Comfort as well, but safety is our biggest priority, and all the industrial companies, it's their biggest priority as well. So this addresses a lot of things and needs for those those people. You asked me earlier is what piqued my interest in it. It was just a need, quite honestly, and you can't control the heat if you're outside, right? You can't control the climate, but you can control how you react to it through hydration and keeping cool, and this is just another way for those guys to protect themselves.
And when you move from a football helmet to a plant workers or construction worker, any kind of industrial type helmet, that opens up even more doors. You mentioned briefly military a minute ago. What kind of numbers are we talking about here? How, if everything were to fall in line and everybody who would be potentially a Tiger Air customer becomes one, how long would production of all this take?
If they all wanted it at the exact same time.
if tomorrow everybody calls, or Monday everybody calls.
Wow,
I mean,
that'd be
that's a lot of ramp up.
Yeah, that'd be some logistics involved, but it's doable with the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
It would just take we would have some lead time needed. I mean, I think, if we go full bore, we can produce on the about 25,000 units per day.
Okay. That's a decent number.
Yeah, so we can ramp up pretty quickly.
Very nice.
And I think if we push the issue, we could get above that number as well.
Where do folks go if they want to learn more about what y'all doing?
TigerAir.com. It's TigerAire.com. TigerAir.com.
Is there any chance that as you're in more and more college football helmets, putting a tiger on every other SEC helmet, like your logo being on the helmet, would that be a thing?
Isn't that great?
I mean, just to look at it, look at a Mississippi State Bulldog and see the tiger right next to it.
Yeah, I didn't wear the.
I mean,
the
we all
shirt
still
today,
drink
but-
Gatorade for crying out loud.
Exactly. So here's our logo, and our T-shirt tagline is "Get some air," and walking in some of the Texas A&M or Alabama locker rooms with a tiger across your chest is pretty fun. You get some interesting looks.
He is Patrick Coogan. Thank you so much for coming in, man.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me, Brian.
That was it. Yeah. I looked up. I was already 1 second over. So, all good. All good. All good. It's all content, man. I love it. Hey, YouTube, thank y'all so much for playing along today. Jake apologizes profusely for getting us up late. I'm just kidding. We're good.
I'm sorry.
We'll see you Monday.